live and direct from anywhere in the world. It's The Kelly Show with Dr. Kelly Mondesire.
Hello, and welcome back to The Kelly Show, Heritage of Genius, but always real people with real stories in real time. And it's March, and it's the month of the Irish. And down here in the South, we celebrate St. Patrick's Month. We don't celebrate St. Patrick's Week or day, it's month. And down in Savannah, they color all the fountains of all the plazas green. So you can imagine, that's why I had to wear red today, because I needed to be a little different. But speaking of the green and speaking of names, my next guest is a very interesting individual, and he is in the business of Irish golf and travel. And fun fact about me, I do play golf, and one of my bucket list items is to play golf back in the motherland. So today, I would like to welcome to the Kelly Show, Mr. Tom Kennedy, who is the CEO of Experience Ireland Golf and Travel. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show.
Kelly, how are you? Yeah, great to be on the show. And I think it's my birthday month in March as well. So I think I might just move to Savannah for March and celebrate with all you guys down there. So it sounds like a bit of crack anyway, you know?
Well, yeah, it's I'm overwhelmed with appointments and engagements and the parties and the marches and the breakfasts and the dinners. The whole place goes crazy down here. Who knew? And actually, Savannah has the second largest St. Patrick's Day parade in the United States outside of New York City. So go figure. How about those apples? Who knew, right?
Wow, that's great. Yeah. I mean, we do say back here there's two types of people, the Irish and people who want to be Irish. So, you know.
Yeah, well, they're all Irish down here the month of March. You can't get away from it. But Tom, where are you from? Where are you now? And can you tell me about what's in the name of Kennedy? Where does that hail from? And a little bit about your background, your heritage.
Okay. So I suppose on the Kennedy name, my dad, he passed away now about 4 years ago, but he was an eternal student, and he actually did some genealogy work. So I do have some information on the Kennedy family, or they were O Kennedy for a while, but or O Canada in Irish in the Gaelic tongue, but we're from Irish royal dynasty. I suppose everyone wants to be able to say that, but and a sept of the Dalgash, which is again an Irish phrase, founded in the Middle Ages, who were the kings of Ormond, and their our family founder would have been the nephew of the High King Brian Boru. So dating back to pretty much the, what do you call it, 11th century, I suppose, 1002 to 1014 was, I think, Brian Boru's reign as High King of Ireland. So we'll take our royal heritage there, and I suppose, there's been a lot of Kennedys on both sides of the water that have been involved. I suppose I wouldn't say that the step down from royalty is politics, but a lot have been involved on the politics side. So I suppose if you don't have a king, you might as well be prime minister or something like that. So, there's been a lot of Kennedys involved. I suppose more high profile in the States, and there's one that might be involved in the current administration over there after the election. So, that'd be interesting. But my own family, we come from Limerick, which is in the Midwest. I suppose more known for hurlers and rugby players and stuff like that. It's the home of, I suppose, Dell Computers are there, and a few other industries. We're now, well, I suppose myself, I'm in Killarney with my wife Katrina and our three kids. They are 6, 5, and 3. So we've got a lot on there. Lena, Lucy, and Lottie. 3 lovely ladies at the majority of the time anyway. So we're down in Killarney. So Katrina's from down here. When you marry a Kerry woman, there's something in the constitution that you have to move down here, but it's not the worst place in the world. It's set up for tourism, and it's very, very welcoming place. It's called the Kingdom for a number of reasons, and I suppose it's a fabulous place to live and to work, especially with with our tourism business as well. So and from golf side of things, it's close to some of the best courses in the country and the world, really.
Wow. So wait a minute. So should I be calling you King Tom going forward?
President, I suppose President Kennedy isn't too bad anyway. So, but yeah, so, we're happy with our royal heritage, but it doesn't really get us too far anymore these days. I know the O'Brien clan in Limerick and Clare lay claim to the kind of, if there's an O'Brien in a group and you're in Bunratty Castle, they'll sit that person in the throne at the banquets. So, we're not as happy over that side of the country, over in Clare. So even though my mom's from there, but we're not all perfect.
Wow. Well, I'm a Contessa on my Italian side.
Okay.
If you go back and back and back and back, I come from on my mother's side, the Italian side. One of the ancestors was a Contessa. So you're King Tom, I'll be Contessa Kelly. How about those?
I take it. Yeah, that's okay.
So thanks for sharing that. That's great. Wow. That's unexpected. I didn't know that. About you. So how did you become involved in the game of golf? And I think we have a photo of you swinging a club. There you are. Wow, that's a swing.
Yeah, right. That's when I was a little bit more flexible. But yeah, I think that's from Celtic Manor over in Wales back in 2012, possibly. So not too long ago, but long enough to know that I'm a little bit more creaky these days. But yeah, back in Limerick, I'd been playing kind of pitch and putt, which obviously a shorter form of the game, but a great way for kids to take it up. So I would have played with my granddad and my uncles on my mum's side. A lot of them played golf. And my granddad, he's gone a while back now, but he's still the best golfer in the family, even though he's up in golfer's heaven, I suppose. But he was a 2 handicap back when that meant that we were probably nearly as good as some of the pros. And he would have played a lot of golf in Lahinch, and he was a member of the winning senior cup team, which would have been one of the biggest kind of interclub competitions in the country. So we have Christy Cullen was his name, and we've got menus, some like celebration dinners and stuff with his name on it. So they're kind of nice keepsakes to have. And I suppose there's a little bit of golf in the blood back on mum's side with granddad. And then when I'd been playing pitch and putt, obviously got interested in buying golf magazines and stuff. So walked into John Gleason's shop in Limerick. He was a news agent and a few other things as well. And John was at the counter himself, and he ran the junior golf kind of program in Limerick Golf Club. And we chatted for a couple of minutes, and I think within 2 weeks he got me a junior golf membership. Kind of signed me up as a junior member in Limerick Golf Club. So kind of went from there really, and it was a really nice way to get introduced to golf. Outside of the kind of pitch and putt kind of start, but it was a nice way to go. And where my best friend was a kind of member there as well, and a lot of the school chums. So it was a nice way to spend Easters and all summer to play until you had to go work for beer money, I suppose, when you're a bit older. And then kind of started caddying in the Dare Manor Hotel and Golf Resort out there. Obviously that's due to host Ryder Cup now in less than 3 years in 2027. So kind of started off there. So the love affair was ignited from a relatively young age, and we're still getting on even now.
That's great. Well, I'm going to ask you about some of your adventures, and you've given us some graphics here. Can you tell us what's going on? Who is this? What was this photo about? This is all part of your coming to where you are right now in the golf and travel industry. So tell us a little about what is this statue? Who's this fellow next to you, and what's happening here?
Yeah, that's it's one of our buddies from the new club in St Andrews. So we for many years, I think COVID kind of put a bit of a dent in our plans, but we'd been playing 12 friends from Scotland, members of the new club over there in St Andrews, every year we play in Ireland or Scotland. So it would be an annual event, kind of August, September time. So luckily I was captain. I was captain in 2015. So we played at the K Club. You can see the logo there on the bag. So we brought the Scots to the K Club, and luckily for me, I was a winning captain. So you're always a bit like the Ryder Cup. If you're winning captain, you're a great captain. So I was obviously a very good captain. So we
managed
to get the win over the Scots. So so it's kind of a nice friendly event. Gets there's a little bit of a rivalry when we tee it up, but it's been going for a long time. So it's nice to golf. You meet some. I suppose golf is a unique sport. You meet some weird and wonderful people on the golf course that otherwise you'd probably never get the chance to meet. So
that is true. Every time I've played, I've always said, I'm privileged to be in a beautiful environment. I've never met unkind people playing golf. There's always good talk, and you never know who is in the foursome. Especially as a single person, I'm always put in with a group of 2 or 3 when I go out. So I always meet new people, and some I still keep in touch with. But we have another photo here that Gareth is going to put up. Now, this is cool beans. Where in the world is this? And where the heck were you teeing that ball to? I mean, it looks like you're going to see Jesus there. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's not far from the equator, I suppose. It's in the Limpopo region down in South Africa. So it's a couple of hours, I think, south of Johannesburg. It's called the Extreme 19th hole at the Legends Resort. I think, unfortunately, the Legends Resort is no more now, from what I know. But we played there back in 2014. Myself and Kieran Sheridan, who's a BA pilot, and Philip McLaughlin, who from Tipperary. So we flew in, and so you get a helicopter up to the side of the mountain, and that's where the tee box is. You can see obviously there's a little bit of a drop there to the side of the tee.
You think?
You hit onto a green that's God knows how, 300 or 400 yards away, and you kind of take it from there. Obviously, thankfully we didn't have to abseil down. The chopper took us back down. So
you're actually teeing off on a hole? You take the helicopter down and you continue playing that hole?
Yeah. If you put the ball in place, so the chopper will land a couple hundred yards from the green, and you'll walk up. And if you've got a ball in place, so I've got a certificate at home that I got a 4 off my first ball, so it's a nice little keepsake that I hang on to. So
that's crazy. How is anybody going to hear you screaming 4 from up there?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if they ever would, to be honest, but they have ball spotters down beside the green, and obviously they were on walkie-talkies, so we wouldn't. They must
be wearing helmets.
Wow. I hope they were, but I'm not sure on the health and safety side.
Wow. That is so cool. Wow. So we have another photo that we want to put up. And folks, I'm putting these up full screen because these are really cool. So Tom, you said you never know who you're going to meet. And I say, you never know. I never know who I'm going to be, paired up with because I'm a single person. Well, who are these guys? And there's one guy here that everybody should be familiar with. Talk to us about this photo and tell us the story behind this photo.
Yeah, so that's I suppose for those who don't know it, I'm sure there are very few of those. On my left, the right hand side of the photo, that's Bill Murray and 3 of his sons. So we've Cooper, Jackson, and Lincoln photo bombing us there. So that was in Druids Glen back in July of 2021. So Bill and his family came over alongside Tom Coyne, the American golf writer. There was Joel, his brother, Andrew, his brother, and John as well, and there was some cousins, and some of Joel's kids were there too. So there was about 16 in the group that had some connection or another to the Murray family, be it cousins or sons or brothers. And Billy Collins, the Port Laureate from the US, was there with his lovely wife. So it was a really cool group. and we played in Druids Glen, stayed in Carton House, played a few holes there, went west end to Cairn, Donegal Golf Club, Port Salin, Critch Island, and then we came back down to Nairn and Portnew as well. Came back down then to Sligo and played in Scrone, and the tour finished then in Galway, Connemara and Galway Bay Golf Club. Unfortunately, it was right after COVID had reached kind of, we'd opened up to travellers in July of 2021. So unfortunately, Bill and a couple of the group did test positive for COVID, so we couldn't get the last day in at Ballybunion Golf Club, which was a pity. But Bill's been back a good few times. I know he's quite friendly now with JP McManus, who's the owner of Adair Manor. So he'd go to a lot of Limerick hurling matches, and he'd play in Adair a bit. So it was a great experience. Obviously, welcoming the Murrays back to Ireland. I'm sure they'd been before, but I mean, a group that big, even together as a family, hadn't met even in the States for a while. So to get them all together in Ireland was kind of cool, and they had some great times. And they stayed in places like Mount Falcon, and Alan Maloney and his team took great care of us there, and obviously a lot of the other hotels around Ireland that they stayed in. So I'd never been as popular with radio stations and whiskey distilleries that wanted to get a hold of Bill Murray rather than myself. But fielded a lot of calls that week, and I suppose the press were following us as well to try to figure out where we were going next. But we just about managed to stay ahead of them. But Bill met a lot of people that week, so unfortunately his stay was prolonged a slight bit in Galway with the COVID positive test. But they seem to have a great time, and we still keep in touch with some of the groups. So it was a great way to kind of restart the tours by having that as one of them, and Tom Coyne and the Links Life, they did a really cool kind of YouTube video on the whole trip. So that's available.
Oh, that's great
for anyone who wants to check it out.
That's great. And my question is now, do you remember what Bill Murray's handicap was?
I'm not too sure. I still have the 20 pounds. Somehow he had English pounds in his wallet, but so me and Cooper we beat him, and Lincoln and Jackson, we took him on a match. So we got 20 pounds off Bill that day. So I'm not sure what he played off, but we were good enough to beat him anyway. So that was a nice day. Plus the barman in Druids Glen had a tattoo of Bill from Lost in Translation on his arm. So that was quite.
Oh, okay.
The barman, we were up at the top of the roof in the clubhouse in Druids Glen, and the barman, he kind of rolled up his shirt and showed the tattoo. Fortunately, Bill didn't have a tattoo of him, but it was a fairly unique way to start the trip. So it was a long day for a lot of them. A lot of them had flown in either the night before or that morning. So it was a nice way of getting everyone together. And, we had a lovely night in Carton House that evening, and kind of went from there, So it was a really cool trip. And we've been lucky to have some interesting characters on our tours, be them well-known people or not so well-known. We're obviously appreciative of anyone who decides to experience Ireland with us.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to our next graphic here, and tell me, who's this fellow? What's going on here? I like the shirt. What's the logo on the shirt, please? Yeah,
so there's a few logos there. The kind of coloured logo is, I think, the Ghana Golf Association, and then there's Paul McGinley's golf design logo on top of that. So that's Paul McGinley. I'm sure most people know Paul as the 2014 European Ryder Cup captain. A phenomenal captain that year, and kind of set the standard for captains going forward in terms of the attention to detail and preparation and stuff like that, motivation, all that stuff. So Paul was involved with the Ghana Golf Development, project. I was working there in 2013 and 2014 alongside Tullow Oil and the RNA. So lucky enough to, be over and back with Paul quite a bit. And he visited Ghana then when, during the project. And I think that was a photo, maybe one of the hotels, the Golden Tulip Hotel, if memory serves. So that was a few months before the Ryder Cup. So Paul was obviously a busy man at that stage. it was really
Yeah.
interesting project to be working on.
So let me ask you, if I or anyone wants to book an Irish golf experience, and we have a few photos that we can put up while you're explaining. Talk to me about your Irish tours, golf tours. Tell us about the experience. How does it work? In terms of where would I stay? What are the meals like? What's the ideal day? What's the itinerary like? And what's happening here? Is that your van? Is that your bus?
Yeah, well, that's we have great transport partners in O'Callaghan Coaches based here in Killarney. So my brother-in-law runs the company. So we're lucky to have the pick of some of the best vehicles in Ireland and some of the best drivers as well. So they take very good care of our tours. I think that's the Villanova group back a few years ago. They played a bit of golf, but they were mainly down for I think a rowing tournament in Cork. So so we obviously our trips are very much bespoke. We have a lot of kind of sample itineraries on the website, including the Bill Murray itinerary itself and the No Lane Up itinerary, which is quite a popular one. But these guys were over it was mainly kind of a bit of sightseeing, and they stayed in Cork for most of the time because they were involved in the tournament there. So I mean, we obviously pretty much send you wherever you want to go if we can fit you in there, be it golf or accommodation. So.
And we have a beautiful photo of one of the locations. Gareth, would you mind putting that on? Yeah, this is gorgeous. I want to stay there. Where is this? This is lovely.
Yeah, so that's Adair Manor. So that's where I luckily enough started my journey working in golf. So that's the manor house behind you there, or behind me even in the photo. So it was such a big project that the Earl of Dunraven, who commissioned the building, had actually passed by the time it was finished. So that and obviously that was a long time ago. But there we are on the kind of redeveloped kind of Tom Fazio redesign from the Trent Jones Senior design. So Robert Trent Jones Senior would have designed the course originally, and then after JP McManus had bought it a few years ago, well, probably more than 10 years ago now, they kind of redeveloped the golf course. The routing is very much the same, but they changed a lot of the green sites and obviously put in a lot of infrastructure, probably thinking that a Ryder Cup bid was in the offing, and they've sub-air systems, same as Augusta. So it's, it turned a 5-star, an already 5-star golf course into probably a 6-star, and they've made improvements in the hotel as well, added more rooms, a massive kind of ballroom, and
wow,
convention center of sorts in there. So they've I didn't think Adair Manor could get any better, but they've somehow done it. It's an absolutely amazing experience from start to finish, and that was us there in 2019 with Neil Schuster from No Lane Up and Chad Coleman from Callaway Golf, who's now at Dude Perfect. So they were good days.
Wow. And where is this lighthouse? I have seen photos of this particular lighthouse from friends and former patients of mine who were from Wall Street and would make an annual trip out to here. But tell our viewers where this is and what hole this is.
Yeah, so that's the Old Head of Kinsale Lighthouse. And obviously the course then is the Old Head Golf Links. So that's the fourth hole at the Old Head, called the Razor's Edge for obvious reasons. So it swings down. The green is just left and below the lighthouse there. So you can, if you've got eagle eyes, you could just about make it out. So it's one of the best golfing experiences you'll ever have, no matter where you go in the world. And people are great there. Food is fantastic in the clubhouse. Kinsale is 20 minutes away, which is the gourmet capital of Ireland. So if you're going down towards the Old Head, you should definitely stop a couple of days and just take it all in. It's beautiful. It's kind of the Riviera of Ireland. It's just a beautiful part of the world.
My next trip, I'm going to call you and say, hook me up for some golf for sure. And so I get to check that off my bucket list. But I don't know if our viewers know this, but before I went into the field of medicine, I spent 22 years in the field of television. And I did the NBC golf tour for a few years. So Fazio and a lot of those cats back in the 90s, we would all get together at the local diner or wherever it was for, the different PGA events across the United States. And it was very, very interesting. And in those days, I didn't play golf. I had golf cart races instead. I never took up the game until maybe 10 years later. And I'm sorry I didn't take it up sooner in life because it is a great game. It's very social. It's cerebral. You have to think about distance, conditions, club size, what do you call the, help me out here. What do you call the angle of the club?
I suppose swing path and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. What advice would you give to amateur golfers?
Well, I'm an amateur myself.
Oh, the loft. So Garrett says the loft. The loft of
the loft. Oh,
yeah. But what advice would you give to young golfers or the youth that would consider taking up the game of golf?
I suppose, look, it's tough to tell someone to have fun, but I mean, it's just go and to paraphrase, I suppose, to kind of phrase from John Daly and Nike, grip it and rip it and just do it. It's, I know Park Harrington was probably one of our greatest golfers, would kind of advocate to just let them go and play and they'll figure it out themselves, I know, once you get to a certain level, then obviously you'll need some, some lessons from your local pro, in terms of getting to the next level, but just in terms of starting, just to show them the basics and let them go, really, I mean, especially if you're starting from a young age. I mean, kids they're like sponges, like they'll take to anything, really, if it's a good experience. I mean, our eldest is she'll be in her second year of kind of the equivalent of elementary school, and Lucy, our middle child, has just started, and I mean, they're learning Irish for the first time, and Dave has nearly as many phrases as we do at home, so they're reteaching us while they're learning themselves. So it's that's the thing. It's like swimming or anything. So you start them young, and and if they have any aptitude for it at all, they'll and with golf especially, it's a game for life. You can play it for 70 years, 80 years if you're lucky enough.
For true. So Tom, we have a tradition on the Kelly Show. If you could name one person, place, thing, or experience that you're grateful or thankful for, who or what would it be, please?
Okay, I suppose being a son of a ex-politician, I suppose I'll give a couple of parts answer. Obviously, the person would be my wife anyway, and the place has to be Dare Manor. I suppose it's where I got my start working in the golf business. I didn't think I'd be still working in the business nearly 30 years later. Just I suppose just the way it happened. But we've had a lot of memories there from working with some of my best friends to getting engaged there in 2015, and we've kind of do an annual pilgrimage pretty much, with myself and Katrina, and obviously we go there a lot with our tour groups and stuff. So it's it's great to see what's happening with it with the Ryder Cup in 2027. It's going to be the Centenary Ryder Cup, so it's massive for Ireland, obviously, to get the Ryder Cup back. And pretty proud to have worked in it there all those years ago, where we were working out of pretty much porta cabins, and now you've got a phenomenal clubhouse and a manor house that's been invested in again, and being from Limerick, to see it in the locality is pretty cool. So I mean, I couldn't. I'm very biased, obviously, and very proud being from Limerick, but it's the place that if I'm getting my ashes scattered, I'll look for permission to scatter them there.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show and sharing with us so much about Irish golf and travel tourism, where you're from, where your people are from, your heritage, and the genius that you had to take a passion and your passion for the game of golf and bring it into a very successful business and bring folks from all over the world, celebrity, the common man or woman, and educate them and bring them into the Irish culture, all it has to offer, and give them the wonderful experience of golf in Ireland. So, folks, if you'd like to contact Tom and learn more about Irish golf and travel tourism, we have his contact information we're going to put up right now. And you can contact Tom and learn more about Irish golf and travel. Gareth, let's put that up. There we go. So that's another great shot of you. And thank you once again, Tom, for being on The Kelly Show. We want to wish you and your family and your friends and everyone out there a great and happy St. Patrick's month. It's the month of the Irish. It's the month of the green. And folks, if you have a story to tell and you would like to be a future guest on The Kelly Show, write in. We have the contact information down here. Write us your name, where you come from, a little bit about your story, where your name is from, if you know, and why you would like to be on The Kelly Show. And next week, stay tuned. We are going to continue our saga, our journey, our adventure of what's in a name, the heritage of genius. We're going to have another genius on the show who's a real person with a real story, giving it to us in real time. So stay tuned, subscribe to The Kelly Show. The information is down here, and we'll see you very soon. Okay, stay tuned. See you next week. Gareth, take it away.
If you would like to be a guest on The Kelly Show, send us an email with your contact information, where in the world you are, and a brief description of the story you'd like to share today.